Before you judge me, please just hear me out. Yes, I told my husband he should watch old home videos with my ex. Yes, I said it during an argument about our relationship. Yes, I knew it would hurt him, but I didn't think he'd actually do it. I didn't think he'd call my ex. I didn't think he'd invite him over to our house. And I definitely didn't think I'd come home from work to find both of them sitting in my living room with my belongings already packed in boxes. I'm sitting in a coffee shop right now because I have nowhere else to go. My laptop is open in front of me, but I can't focus on anything. My phone keeps buzzing with messages from people who've heard what happened, people who want to know my side of the story, people who've already decided I'm the villain. Maybe I am the villain. I don't even know anymore. All I know is I said something stupid during a fight, and 48 hours later, my marriage was over, my ex was involved in my divorce, and I was homeless. So before everyone writes me off as a crazy person, let me explain how we got here. My husband's name is Nathan. We've been married for 5 years, together for 7. When we met, I was 28 and freshly out of a long-term relationship that had ended badly. Nathan was 30, stable, with a good job in finance, and a nice apartment in a decent neighborhood. He was handsome in a conventional way, clean-cut, well-dressed, the kind of guy your parents immediately approve of. Our first date was at a wine bar downtown. He was a perfect gentleman, pulled out my chair, asked thoughtful questions, listened when I talked, paid for dinner without making it weird. By the end of the night, I remember thinking, this is what a healthy relationship is supposed to feel like. After years of drama and chaos with my ex, Nathan felt like a breath of fresh air. We fell into a comfortable rhythm quickly. Date nights every Friday, brunch on Sundays, texts throughout the day checking in. He introduced me to his parents after 3 months. I introduced him to mine after 4. Everyone said we were perfect together. He's so stable, my mother would say approvingly. He treats you so well, my best friend would observe. You guys are relationship goals, acquaintances would comment on our photos. Nathan proposed after 2 years, during a weekend trip to the mountains. It was sweet and romantic, a hike to a scenic overlook, a picnic with champagne, a ring he'd been carrying in his backpack the whole time. I cried and said yes, and truly believed I'd found my person. The wedding was beautiful, the honeymoon was lovely. The first year of marriage was fine. That word again. Fine. We settled into married life easily. Too easily, maybe. We had our routines, work, dinner, TV, bed. Weekends were errands and meal prep and the occasional dinner with friends. We were functional, efficient, compatible. But somewhere along the way, we stopped being excited about each other. The passion faded. The spontaneity disappeared. The deep conversations became surface-level updates about our days. We existed in parallel rather than together. I tried talking to him about it multiple times over the years. I feel like we're more like roommates than spouses, I said once while we were doing dishes together. What do you mean? We live together, we're married, we do everything together, he replied, genuinely confused. But do you ever miss the excitement, the romance, the feeling of really connecting with someone? We're adults now, he said, as if that explained everything. This is what mature relationships look like: stability, partnership, building a life together. But I didn't want just stability. I wanted to feel alive in my relationship, not just comfortable. I wanted surprise date nights, not scheduled ones. I wanted passionate conversations, not predictable small talk. I wanted spontaneous affection, not perfunctory goodnight kisses. I wanted to feel like he wanted me, not just like he was fulfilling his marital obligations. And when I couldn't get that from Nathan, my mind started wandering to the person who used to make me feel that way, my ex, Ryan. I know what you're thinking, the woman who can't let go of her ex, the woman living in the past, the woman who's never satisfied with what she has. Maybe you're right, but let me tell you about Ryan, because understanding our relationship is key to understanding why I said what I said. Ryan and I dated for 4 years, from age 23 to 27. We met in college. He was a year ahead of me, studying film production while I was in communications. We met at a party, bonded over our shared love of obscure movies, and started dating a week later. Being with Ryan was intense. He was creative, passionate, unpredictable in the best ways. He'd wake me up at midnight to watch a meteor shower. He'd write me poems and leave them on my pillow. He'd plan elaborate surprise dates, picnics in weird locations, midnight museum trips, road trips to places I'd never heard of. He was constantly creating things, short films, photo projects, art installations. And I was his muse, his inspiration, his favorite subject. He'd film me constantly, cooking breakfast, reading in bed, laughing with friends, just existing. He said I was the most beautiful subject he'd ever captured. We made so many home videos together. Not just him filming me, but us filming US. Our adventures, our inside jokes, our everyday life. We documented everything. Trips we took, holidays we spent together, random Tuesday nights watching movies in his apartment. He'd edit them into these beautiful short films with music and artistic shots. He made our life look like poetry. When we were intimate, it felt like art, like we were creating something together, not just going through motions. He paid attention to every detail, every reaction, every moment. Being with Ryan was like being the center of someone's universe. But Ryan was also unreliable, moody, and selfish. His creativity came with chaos. He'd get so absorbed in a project he'd forget we had plans. He'd stay up for 48 hours editing a film, then sleep for 16 hours straight. His income was inconsistent. He'd have money one month and be broke the next. He borrowed money from me regularly and was terrible about paying it back. He was jealous and possessive. If I went out with friends without him, he'd sulk. If I talked to another guy at a party, he'd pick a fight later. He needed constant reassurance that I loved him, that I wasn't going anywhere, that he was enough. We fought constantly. Passionate, exhausting fights about everything and nothing. He'd say cruel things when he was angry. I'd say cruel things back. We'd break up, get back together, break up again. The final breakup happened when he got an opportunity to move to LA for a film internship. It was his dream, the break he'd been waiting for. But he wanted me to come with him. Drop everything, my job, my life, my plans, and just follow him to California with no guarantee of anything. When I said I couldn't do that I had my own career to think about, he said I didn't love him enough, that if I really cared, I'd choose him over everything else. We fought for weeks. He gave me an ultimatum, come with him or we're done. I chose to stay. He moved to LA. We tried long distance for 3 months, but it fell apart quickly. He was busy, I was hurt, neither of us knew how to communicate across the distance. He broke up with me over a phone call that lasted less than 5 minutes. I was devastated. I spent months crying, looking at old photos, watching the videos he'd made of us. I'd replay our relationship in my head, wondering if I'd made the wrong choice, wondering if I should have gone to LA, wondering if I'd let the love of my life walk away. It took me a year to even consider dating again. And then I met Nathan. Nathan was everything Ryan wasn't. Stable, present, financially secure, emotionally available. He didn't play games or make me guess where I stood. He was clear about his feelings, his intentions, his commitment. After Ryan's chaos, Nathan's consistency felt like a gift. But after 5 years of marriage, Nathan's consistency started to feel like monotony. I found myself thinking about Ryan more and more. Not because I wanted to get back with him. He was probably still in LA, probably with someone else, probably hadn't thought about me in years. But because I missed feeling the way I felt with him. I missed feeling interesting, inspiring, beautiful, worth creating art about. With Nathan, I felt like a checkbox on a list. Wife, check. Stable relationship, check. Comfortable life, check. But there was no passion, no intensity, no feeling of being truly seen. I started looking at Ryan's social media. He'd done well for himself, working for a production company, making actual money now, posting about film projects and industry events. He looked older, more mature, more settled. But his posts still had that creative energy that had always drawn me to him. I never reached out, never messaged him, just looked, remembered, compared. And that's where I made my first mistake. Because the more I compared Nathan to Ryan, the more Nathan came up short. Nathan never surprised me. Ryan had surprises every week. Nathan never wrote me poetry. Ryan wrote constantly. Nathan never looked at me like I was a work of art. Ryan filmed me like I was the most fascinating subject in the world. It wasn't fair to Nathan. He was being himself, the person I'd married, but I couldn't stop thinking about who Ryan had been and what our relationship had felt like. The fight started on a Friday night. Nathan and I were watching TV, our usual Friday routine. We'd ordered takeout, opened a bottle of wine, settled onto the couch to watch whatever Netflix recommended. I don't even remember what we were watching. Some documentary that Nathan had picked. I was on my phone, barely paying attention. "You're on your phone again," Nathan said. "Sorry," I said, "not really sorry." "You've been distant lately," he observed. "Is everything okay?" And instead of being honest, instead of having a real conversation about how I was feeling, I got defensive. "I'm fine, I'm just tired." "You're always tired lately, or distracted, or somewhere else mentally." "Well, maybe I'm bored," I snapped. He muted the TV and turned to look at me. "Bored? Of what?" "Of this," I gestured around, "of the same routine every day, of predictable Friday nights and boring weekends and conversations about nothing." His face hardened. "I'm boring? Is that what you're saying?" "I'm saying we're boring. This marriage is boring. We don't do anything. We don't go anywhere. We just exist next to each other. We have a good life. Comfortable isn't the same as good." I was raising my voice now. "We have a comfortable life, a safe life, a completely predictable life where nothing ever changes and nothing ever happens." "What do you want to happen?" he asked, and I could hear the frustration in his voice. "You want drama, chaos, fights, because we can have those too, apparently." "I want to feel something," I said. "I want to feel excited about coming home to you. I want to feel like you actually see me, not just like I'm part of the furniture. I want to feel like I'm more than just your wife on paper." "I do see you." "No, you don't. You see what you expect to see. You see wife and partner and person who splits the bills. But you don't see me. You don't look at me like I'm someone special. You don't make me feel beautiful or interesting or like I matter beyond my functional role in your life." Nathan was quiet for a long moment. Then he said quietly, "Who does make you feel that way?" My heart skipped. "What?" "Who are you comparing me to? Because you're obviously comparing me to someone." "I'm not. You are. You've been different for months, distant, dissatisfied, always on your phone, always somewhere else in your head. So who is it?" I should have lied. I should have deflected. I should have shut down the conversation. Instead, I said, "Do you know Ryan used to film me? Just living my life. He made videos of us together, of me cooking breakfast, of me reading, of us on adventures. He made me feel like I was worth documenting, like I was interesting enough to capture on film." Nathan's expression went cold. "Ryan, your ex." "I'm just saying, you're comparing me to your ex, the guy you dated almost a decade ago, the guy who moved across the country and left you heartbroken." "He didn't leave me heartbroken. You cried for months. You watched those stupid videos constantly. Your friends were worried about you. And now you're bringing him up in our marriage?" "I'm making a point." "What point?" Nathan stood up. That I'm not creative enough, not romantic enough, that I don't film you like some manic pixie dream girl? What exactly is your point? And that's when I said it. The stupidest, most destructive thing I've ever said in my life. Maybe you should watch those videos. Maybe you should sit down with Ryan and watch them together so you can see what it looks like when someone actually makes their partner feel valued. Silence. Complete, absolute silence. I watched Nathan's face go through several emotions: hurt, anger, disbelief, and finally something cold and resolved. "You want me to watch home videos with your ex," he said slowly. "I want you to understand. You want me to sit down with the man you dated for 4 years, the man you apparently still think about, and watch videos of you two together so I can learn how to be a better husband." When he said it like that, it sounded insane. "That's not what I meant." "Then what did you mean?" His voice was dangerously quiet now. I just meant that I miss feeling special. I miss feeling like someone's priority. You miss him," Nathan interrupted. "Just say it. You miss Ryan. You wish you were still with Ryan. You settled for me because I'm stable and boring and you can't stop thinking about what you gave up." "That's not true, isn't it?" He grabbed his keys from the coffee table. "You know what? Fine. You want me to watch those videos? I'll watch those videos. Where are they?" "What? The videos? Where are they? You still have them, right? Because if you're bringing them up in a fight, you've obviously been watching them recently." My stomach dropped, because he was right. They were on an old external hard drive in my closet. I hadn't watched them in months, but I knew exactly where they were. "Nathan, I didn't mean it literally. Where are they?" Something in his tone made me scared. Not of him. Nathan had never been violent, never even raised his voice above what he was doing now. But scared of what I'd set in motion. In the closet. The external hard drive labeled college files. He walked to our bedroom. I heard him opening the closet. Heard him find the drive. He came back out holding it. "And Ryan, where is he these days? Still in LA?" "I don't know." "You're on social media constantly. You're telling me you haven't been checking his accounts." I didn't answer. "That's what I thought." He grabbed his laptop. "What's his last name again?" "Nathan, stop. This is crazy. I was just venting. I didn't mean..." But he'd already found Ryan on Facebook, was already typing a message. "What are you doing?" I asked, panic rising in my chest. "Exactly what you asked me to do. I'm going to watch these videos with Ryan. I'm going to learn what it looks like when someone makes you feel special, and then we're going to have a very different conversation about this marriage. You can't just message him." But he'd already hit send. He showed me the message. "Hi Ryan, I'm Nathan, married to your ex. She suggested I watch some old videos of you two together to understand how to be a better husband. Are you available this weekend? I'd like to have this conversation in person." My blood went cold. "Nathan, delete that. Delete it right now." "Why? Isn't this what you wanted?" "I didn't want you to actually contact him. I was making a point. I was trying to make you understand how I feel." "Well, congratulations. I understand perfectly." He set down the laptop. "I understand that I'm married to someone who can't let go of the past, someone who's been emotionally cheating by comparing me to an ex constantly, someone who values drama and chaos over stability and partnership. That's not fair. You literally told me to watch home videos with your ex," he shouted, and it was the first time I'd heard him really yell. "How is anything about this situation fair?" He grabbed his jacket. "Where are you going?" I asked. "Out, away from you. I need to think." "Nathan, please." But he was already out the door. I stood there in our living room, staring at the external hard drive on the coffee table, at the open laptop with the message sent to Ryan, at the half-empty wine glasses and abandoned takeout. What had I done? I didn't sleep that night. I kept checking my phone, waiting for Nathan to come home. He didn't. Around 2 a.m., I checked Facebook. Ryan had responded to Nathan's message. Wow, this is unexpected. I haven't thought about those videos in years. But sure, if you really want to do this, I'm actually visiting family in town this weekend. Could meet Saturday afternoon. Nathan had already responded. Perfect. I'll send you our address. Our address. He'd invited Ryan to our house. I tried calling Nathan. Straight to voicemail. I texted, please come home. We need to talk about this. You can't invite my ex to our house. This is insane. No response. I texted again. I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said. I was angry and I said something stupid. Please don't do this. Nothing. At 4 a.m., I finally heard the door open. Nathan came in quietly, saw I was still awake on the couch. Did you sleep here? He asked. I was waiting for you. You should go to bed. Nathan, please. Cancel the meeting with Ryan. This is crazy. We can work through this ourselves. You wanted me to understand, he said calmly. So I'm going to understand. He's coming Saturday at 2 p.m. You can be here or not. That's your choice. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious. For once in our marriage, I'm doing something you actually asked me to do. Isn't that what you wanted? For me to take initiative? To do something? Not this. Go to bed, he said again, and walked to the guest room. He didn't come to our bedroom that night. Saturday arrived too quickly. I'd considered leaving, going to a friend's house, hiding out until this nightmare ended. But I couldn't. I needed to be there. I needed to control the damage. Nathan had barely spoken to me all day. He'd made coffee, read the news, acted like it was a completely normal Saturday. At 1:30 p.m., he started cleaning, straightening the living room, putting out coasters, acting like he was preparing for a normal guest. Nathan, please, you can still cancel this. We can still fix this ourselves. Nothing to fix, he said without looking at me. You expressed what you needed. I'm providing it. At 1:55, the doorbell rang. My heart stopped. Nathan opened the door, and there was Ryan. He looked different. Older, obviously. It had been almost 8 years. His hair was shorter, more professional. He was wearing nice jeans and a button-down shirt. Looked like he'd just come from brunch with his parents. He looked like an actual adult now, not the chaotic film student I'd dated. Nathan, he said, extending his hand. Ryan. Thanks for coming. Nathan shook his hand. Come in. Ryan stepped inside, and his eyes immediately found me standing in the kitchen doorway. Wow. Hey, he said, and there was genuine surprise in his expression. I wasn't sure you'd be here. Hi, Ryan. My voice came out strangled. This was surreal. My ex and my husband in the same room. Two completely different chapters of my life colliding in the most uncomfortable way possible. So, Nathan said, gesturing to the couch, should we get started? Ryan looked between us, confused. Look, I'm still not entirely sure what's happening here. Your message was pretty vague. What exactly do you want to talk about? My wife suggested I watch home videos of your relationship to understand how to make her feel more valued, Nathan said matter-of-factly, like this was a completely normal sentence. Ryan's eyebrows shot up. What? During a fight, she said, and I quote, maybe you should watch those videos with Ryan so you can see what it looks like when someone makes their partner feel valued. Ryan turned to look at me. You said that. I wanted to disappear, to melt into the floor, to cease to exist. I was angry, I whispered. I didn't mean it. But you said it, Nathan continued. So here we are. I have the hard drive. You're here. Let's watch them. This is insane, Ryan said. I'm not doing this. Why not? Nathan asked. She wants me to learn from you. Apparently you knew how to make her feel special in ways I don't, so teach me. Nathan, stop, I begged. But he'd already connected the hard drive to the TV. Was already scrolling through the files. Here's one, he said. Beach trip 2016. Should we start with this? Man, I don't think, Ryan started, but Nathan had already pressed play. And there we were. Ryan and me, 8 years younger, on a beach at sunset. The video was beautifully shot, golden hour lighting, artistic angles, Ryan's film student skills on full display. We were laughing, running in the waves, Ryan spinning me around while the camera captured it all in slow motion with indie music playing over it. I looked so happy, so carefree, so completely in love. I wanted to die. Nathan let it play for about 2 minutes, then paused it. "Beautiful cinematography," he said to Ryan. "You're talented." "Thanks," Ryan said uncomfortably. Nathan clicked on another video. "Cooking breakfast. Let's try this one." This video was more intimate. Just me in Ryan's kitchen, making pancakes, Ryan filming me from across the counter. I was wearing one of his t-shirts, my hair messy, laughing at something he'd said off camera. The way he'd filmed it, the morning light through the windows, the casual intimacy of the moment, it was like something from an indie film. Young me on the screen said something flirty to the camera. Ryan's voice behind the camera responded with something equally flirty. On screen, me blushed and threw a piece of pancake at him. Nathan paused it again. "You made her laugh a lot," he observed. "We had fun," Ryan said quietly. "Clearly." Nathan clicked through more files. "Road trip, anniversary date, Christmas morning, movie night. You documented everything." "I was in film school," Ryan said. "I documented everything back then. It's what I did." "And she loved it," Nathan said. "She loved being your muse, your subject, your inspiration." He turned to look at me. "Didn't you?" I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. "I made her feel beautiful," Ryan said quietly. "I made her feel seen. But I was also a nightmare to date. I was selfish and unreliable and jealous and broke. I borrowed money and didn't pay it back. I picked fights. I made everything about me and my art. She deserves better than who I was back then." "And yet," Nathan said, "she still watches these videos, still thinks about you, still compares me to you." Ryan looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw understanding dawn in his eyes. "You haven't let go," he said softly. "I let go," I said defensively. "I'm married. I've built a whole life. But you kept the videos. You kept the memories. You kept me alive in your head as this perfect thing we had." He shook his head. "That's not fair to your husband. It's not even fair to me. You've turned me into some impossible standard when the reality was we were terrible together." "We weren't terrible. We fought constantly," Ryan interrupted. "We broke up 4 times. I gave you an ultimatum that ended our relationship. I moved across the country, and we couldn't even make long-distance work for 3 months. If we were so perfect, why didn't we last?" I had no answer. Nathan stood up. "You know what? I don't need to watch anymore. I understand now." "Understand what?" I asked. "That I can't compete with a memory. That you've spent our entire marriage comparing me to a highlight reel. That you've never actually been present in this relationship because you're still living in videos from 2016. He walked to the bedroom. "Nathan," I started to follow him. "Don't," he said. "Just don't." He emerged a minute later with a suitcase. My suitcase, already packed. "What are you doing?" My voice came out as a whisper. "You wanted to know what it felt like to be with Ryan again. Go find out. See if the reality lives up to the memory." He set the suitcase by the door. "But you're not doing it while married to me. You're kicking me out. You checked out of this marriage months ago. I'm just making it official." "Nathan, please." "I tried," he said, and his voice finally cracked with emotion. "I tried to be a good husband. I provided. I was faithful. I was present. But it was never enough because I'm not him. I don't film you like your art. I don't write you poetry. I don't create drama and chaos and intensity. I'm just me, and that's never been enough for you. That's not true. You told me to watch videos with your ex," he shouted. "You told me to learn from him. What part of that suggests I'm enough for you?" Ryan stood up. "I should go. This is between you two." "Actually," Nathan said, "could you stay for a minute? I need to get a few more things. He went to the bedroom again. I stood there with Ryan in my living room, drowning in humiliation. I'm sorry, Ryan said quietly. I shouldn't have come. This was a bad idea. It was my bad idea, I said. You know those videos aren't real, right? Ryan said. I mean, they're real footage, but they're edited, curated. I cut out all the fights, all the bad days, all the times we made each other miserable. You're comparing your real marriage to a literal edited film. I know. Do you? Because it seems like you've convinced yourself we had something perfect. But if it was so perfect, why aren't we together? I didn't have an answer for that either. Nathan came back out with his own bag. Wait, I said. Where are you going? This is your house. I'm staying at my brother's. You can stay here tonight, but tomorrow I want you out. I'll have my lawyer contact you about the divorce. Divorce? The word hit me like a slap. You can't just... I can, and I am. This marriage has been over for a while. We were just both too comfortable to admit it. He looked at Ryan. Thanks for coming. I genuinely appreciate it. You helped me see what I needed to see. Which is, Ryan asked, that she's never going to be happy with stability. She needs drama. She needs intensity. She needs someone who makes her feel like she's the center of the universe. He picked up his bag. That's not me. It'll never be me. And I'm done trying to be something I'm not. He walked to the door. Nathan, please. I was crying now. I made a mistake. I said something horrible in a fight. But we can work through this. We can go to counseling. I don't want to go to counseling, he said. I don't want to work on this. I want out. I want to be with someone who actually wants to be with me, not someone who's constantly comparing me to an ex from a decade ago. He opened the door. I'll text you tomorrow about when to clear out your things. And then he was gone. The door closed. I stood there in shock, staring at my suitcase by the door, at the TV screen, frozen on an image of me and Ryan from 8 years ago, at the living room that suddenly felt like it belonged to someone else entirely. My legs gave out. I sank to the floor right there, in the middle of our, Nathan's living room, and sobbed so hard I couldn't breathe. Ryan cleared his throat awkwardly. Do you need anything? I need to not have said the stupidest thing in the world, I managed between sobs. Yeah, he agreed. That was pretty stupid. I looked up at him through tears. You could pretend to be supportive. I'm being honest, which is more than you've been with your husband, apparently. He grabbed his jacket from where he'd set it on the arm of the couch. Look, I hope you figure things out, but I'm not the answer. Whatever you think we had, it's gone. It was gone the day I moved to LA. It's been gone for 8 years. I know that. Do you? He looked at me seriously. Because you kept those videos. You've been comparing your husband to me for who knows how long. You brought me into your marriage. You literally told your husband to sit down with me and watch us together. That's not someone who's moved on. That's someone who's been living in the past. I wiped my face with my sleeve. I thought I'd moved on. I got married. I built a whole life. With someone you were never really present with, Ryan interrupted. You were physically there, but mentally you were still back in 2016, watching those videos, remembering what it felt like to be young and in love and documenting everything. It's not fair, I said, and I hated how whiny my voice sounded. He stopped trying. We became roommates. He was boring. He was stable, Ryan corrected. There's a difference. And you know what? Stable is good. Stable is what relationships are supposed to be after the honeymoon phase. Yeah, it's not as exciting as chaotic love affairs with film students, but it's real, it's sustainable, it's partnership. He shook his head. I'm 35 now. I have a mortgage. I have a retirement account. I have a girlfriend who I don't film constantly because I respect her privacy and because adult relationships don't need to be documented to be real. If you'd asked me 10 years ago if I'd ever be that person, I would have laughed. But I grew up. You should try it. The words stung because they were true. For what it's worth, Ryan added as he walked to the door. Nathan seems like a good guy. Way better than I was back then. Better than I probably am now, honestly. If you lose him over this, that's completely on you. You chose to compare him to a memory instead of appreciating what was right in front of you. He opened the door. And those videos? Delete them. Seriously. They're not doing you any favors. They're just keeping you stuck. Then he left too. And I was alone. Completely, utterly alone in a house that wasn't mine anymore, with a suitcase packed by my soon-to-be ex-husband, sitting on the floor, crying over a relationship I'd destroyed with my own words. I don't know how long I sat there. An hour? 2. Time felt strange and elastic. Eventually, I pulled myself together enough to stand. To walk to the bedroom, the guest bedroom, not ours. I couldn't face our bed right now, and collapse onto it. I pulled out my phone, looked at Nathan's last text. Too late. Sorry. I started typing a response, deleted it, typed another, deleted that too. What could I possibly say that would fix this? I didn't mean it, wasn't enough. I'd said it. I'd meant it enough to say it out loud during a fight. I was angry wasn't an excuse. Being angry doesn't give you permission to weaponize your ex against your spouse. I want to work on this was laughable. Why would Nathan want to work on a marriage with someone who'd asked him to learn intimacy tips from her ex-boyfriend? There was nothing to say. Nothing that would make this better. So I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment that had led me here. That was 3 days ago. I'm sitting in this coffee shop because I can't stay in that house, Nathan's house. The house that was supposed to be our home, but never really felt like mine because I was never really present enough to make it feel that way. My belongings are packed in boxes in my car. Everything I own fits in my Honda Civic. That's how little I'd actually invested in our life together. Nathan had furnished the house before we got married. My contribution was some kitchen stuff, my books, my clothes. I'd lived there for 5 years, but left almost no mark on the place. That should have been a sign. I cleared out yesterday like Nathan requested via text. He wasn't there. His brother came to supervise, to make sure I didn't take anything that wasn't mine, to make sure I didn't try to talk Nathan out of the divorce. Mike, Nathan's brother, had always liked me. We'd had good conversations at family dinners, laughed at the same jokes, bonded over our shared love of terrible reality TV. But yesterday, he looked at me like I was a stranger. Worse, like I was someone who'd hurt his brother and didn't deserve sympathy. You really did a number on him, Mike said while I was packing up my closet. I know. Do you? Because he called me at 2 a.m. last night crying. I've never heard Nathan cry, not when our dad died, not when he failed the CPA exam twice, not ever. But you made him cry. The guilt was crushing. I didn't mean... You told him to watch home videos with your ex, Mike interrupted. What did you think would happen? What was the best-case scenario in your mind? I didn't have an answer. He loved you, Mike continued. He would have done anything for you, and it still wasn't enough because you couldn't stop living in the past. I know, I whispered. Good. Because he deserves better. He deserves someone who actually wants to be with him, not someone who's settling while fantasizing about someone else. He wasn't wrong. I couldn't even argue. The humiliation of packing my life while Nathan's brother watched and judged was almost worse than the fight itself. Every item I put in a box felt like evidence of my failure. My inability to build a real life with someone. My inability to be present. When I finished, Mike walked me to my car. For what it's worth, he said as I loaded the last box, I hope you figure out whatever's broken in you that made you do this, because if you don't, you're going to destroy every relationship you ever have. Then he went back inside and closed the door, locked it with a very final-sounding click. I sat in my car for 20 minutes before I could drive away. I'm staying with Sarah, my best friend since college. She's been supportive, but also brutally honest in ways I need but hate. What were you thinking? She asked when I showed up on her doorstep with my boxes, tears streaming down my face. I wasn't, I admitted. You told your husband to watch home videos with your ex. How did you think that would end? I thought he'd... I don't know. I thought he'd see how disconnected we'd become. I thought it would make him try harder. I thought he'd realize what he was losing. By showing him videos of you with another man. Videos where you're clearly in love with someone else. Videos that made it crystal clear you've never stopped thinking about your ex. When she put it like that, it sounded even worse. I was trying to make a point. You made a point, all right. You made the point that you're not over your ex, and your husband was wasting his time trying to make you happy. I flinched. That's harsh. It's true, Sarah said firmly, and you need to hear it. You need to stop making excuses and actually face what you did. She set up the air mattress in her living room. I'd be sleeping there until I figured out my next move. I love you, she said as she was leaving for work the next morning. But you need therapy, real therapy, not just talking to me, professional help, because whatever made you think it was okay to keep your ex on a pedestal for years while married to someone else, that's not normal. She was right, I knew she was right, but knowing it and actually dealing with it were two different things. The divorce papers arrived yesterday. Nathan's moving fast. He wants this done. I tried calling him. He didn't answer. I texted an apology, a long, rambling message about how sorry I was, how I'd made a terrible mistake, how I wanted to work on things. His response was 3 words: too late, sorry. I've been replaying everything in my head, every moment of our relationship, trying to figure out where it went wrong. But I think I know. It went wrong when I started comparing Nathan to Ryan. It went wrong when I kept those videos instead of deleting them. It went wrong when I prioritized the memory of passion over the reality of partnership. It went wrong when I confused comfort with complacency. Nathan was right. He couldn't compete with a memory. Nobody could. Because memories don't have bad days. Memories don't have fights about money or whose turn it is to do dishes. Memories are perfectly edited films where everything looks beautiful and romantic and perfect. Real relationships are messy. Real relationships are boring sometimes. Real relationships are routine and predictable and stable. And I threw that away because stable wasn't exciting enough.